Hey everybody, welcome back to Barbera Outdoors, and this episode of Firearms Friday, we're taking a look at the Ruger American Rimfire. We're going to be shooting this at 50 and 100 yards today and see what type of groupings we get with it. Thanks for joining us, and let's talk about this guy. So the Ruger American Rimfire is going to be a 10-shot 22 long rifle. They do make them in 17 HMR as well as 22 mag. It is compatible with all the 10-22 magazines, and so this is the 10, but you can get the 15, 25, 50 round drum mags or whatever if you do so please. I have this paired with a Vortex Diamondback 3-9 by 40, and I gotta say I'm happy with it. I bought this to kind of fill a role of in between my semi-autos. I had two tube-fed 22s, but I didn't have any magazine-fed bolt actions, and so I didn't really want to go with what was at the time the only other kind of option, the Savage Mark II. So I decided to spend a little bit of money on this guy right here. I got this back in March of this year, 2021, and I have had a great and pleasant experience with it. In terms of what it comes with, the main difference is you get two stock combs right here. This is the raised one, so you can look through the scope a bit easier, but it does have a flush if you want to look iron sights, which I actually really enjoy these iron sights. I'll show up a bit closer of a video on it, but you have your buckhorn rear sights, but then you do get the fiber optic front sight. This is a 22-inch barrel. They do make it in, I believe, a 20 and 18, and I think the 18 comes threaded. I didn't necessarily need that. I wanted to be able to kind of reach out and touch further things, which when you think 22, you don't really think about reaching out a bit, but as we'll take a look when we get into shooting, it does give you that opportunity. It comes with a blued barrel, and one of the biggest reasons why I decided to go with this one is the how smooth the bolt was. Like I said, I was looking at the Savage Mark II, and I just don't think they're making the new ones as smooth and nice as the old ones. I have about 400 or 500 rounds through this rifle as of now, and it shoots like a dream. So we're gonna jump over to shooting it. I'll gonna voice over and talk about my opinions, other things I've noticed with it, some ups, some downs, and everything in between. So let's just hop over to the range. All right, catching in this first group, you would notice right there, obviously there's a grouping in the bottom right. I count that as my warm-up grouping, so I say take that out of the review in terms of how it shoots. It was a bit windy today, so take what you see at this first grouping with a grain of salt, but overall it did group pretty well. Stack those two on the right side. We are using the Cci Mini Mag Targets for this shooting. You will see that I group everything a bit to the right. I originally sighted in with the Aguila Super Maximum 22s, so this wasn't necessarily sighted in for this bullet, but you can still see how well it groups. So right here, I'm basically dumping a 10-round magazine into that top left corner, not taking as much time to be as precise, but still you'll see that it groups freaking amazing. Only gripe that I can really have with it at the moment is length of pull is a bit small, and later on in the video I'll talk about my issues with how it's mounting and such like that. I actually unfortunately never shot it with the iron sights. I always just threw a scope on there, but seeing what I did about looking down them, just generally, I gotta say they are really nice if you're not looking to mount a scope on it. Moving on to the 100-yard range, this is actually my first time shooting this gun at 100 yards, and you will see here that it groups amazing. This first 3-shot grouping that I'll show you is going to be my best grouping. I'll kind of show you that also at the end, but you will obviously see the groupings on the bottom left and right. I take that as my warm-up shots for 100, trying to really find where my holdovers are and everything else like that. There is a bit of a dramatic shift in 50 yards, which is what this gun was sighted into 100 yards. I'm about 5 inches low at 100 yards, so I'm aiming roughly at like the second dash on my scope. Moving on to the top right, you will see that although I don't group this as good as my last shots you just see, it does get bullseyed. Golly, look at that shot. I can't say anything other than I'm so happy with that shot, and I am not necessarily your army sniper in terms of accuracy generally. Alright, so I did say I'd show you my best groupings with this. They're going to be 3-shot groupings in the video, and you'll see that I did take some 10 and 5-round groupings. But my best groupings, starting off at 100 yards, is going to be this guy right here, this 3-shot grouping. And I gotta say, that's pretty dang close to sub-MOA. You might be pushing a bit, but I honestly think that is sub 1 inch, which for a 3-shot grouping at 100 yards for a 22, I am very pleased with. That group's better than some 30-06 and 308 bolt actions. And so going into my best 50-yard shot, now this guy will be nice, and I'll throw up the video right here, and boom, there it is. Once you can see I kind of shot this one to all oblivion, but once I kind of get to the point, I was aiming right at the top of this diamond, and you can see that is stacked. I'd say that's less than a half-inch group at 50, and I really wasn't taking that much time. I wasn't really being the best precision shooter, but it stacked amazingly. It'll easily take a squirrel or whatever you need it to do at 50 yards, and so is it worth it? Yes. I think I picked this guy up on a Black Friday special for $300 or so, and I'm pleased with it. Paired with the Vortex 3-9, it's really nice. I am tempted to throw maybe something a bit more powerful on there, get a bit more zooms in there, as some would say, but I'm more than pleased with it. The only other thing besides, as I talked about, is the spacing isn't the best. You can see I had to push it forward because the rear sight is kind of stopping that scope from moving back a bit further, so I do get a little bit of a weird eye relief on it. So really that's more so I just got to buy higher rings, but that might be something to take a look on. They do sell one-piece mounts for the top, so that might be what you got to do. Thank you for joining us on Barbera Outdoors, and hopefully you go out and pick one of these up. Thanks for joining me. You guys have a great one today. Got him.